Black male spirituality, back again with another message. As always, I want to shout out all of my high vibrational, high value brothers. Want to send love to all my lovely high vibrational ladies who may be listening. It's been quite a couple of weeks in the Black manosphere. I'm not here really to say specific names or talk about specific people. It may come up a little bit, but this whole recent situation with this individual who came to the manosphere from outside the manosphere, or the Black manosphere specifically, outside of the Black community, who's gained a lot of traction recently. It's really got me thinking about a lot of things. I've spent, the past couple weeks, kind of looking at different videos, different panels, all of that kind of stuff, hearing the different perspectives on this most recent kerfuffle. And I think there's just so many things just to kind of learn and take away from the things that have been happening. I'm going to title this one, I think, Just Discerning Things. When the person in question originally came on the scene, I remember seeing the reaction videos that this person did about, Kevin Samuels, the whitest girl in the world reacts to one of the biggest names in the Black manosphere, and reacting to rap music and all sorts of stuff. And from the very beginning, I was very suspicious and a little cautious. It's like, okay, she's giving positive commentary about the late great Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace to the Godfather. But it's just something just didn't feel right about her. And it's the same thing, not just with her, but a lot of people who've been coming into the Black manosphere lately. Not to be women hating or anything, but particularly a lot of the women that have been coming out. There are women that I do follow and I do respect, including someone who's taking a very strident stance on this most recent issue. Shout out to Miss Crimson Cure. She does God's work, and I know in her belief she's doing Allah's work, and I can definitely see that. And there are good quality, content creators, men and women, but there's also a lot of grifters, as we say. And again, I always look at things from the perspective of spiritually discerning people, really kind of paying attention to the energy, paying attention to what they do, what they say, how they say it. Because again, everyone, it's all about vibrations. It's really a struggle between high vibrations, low vibrations, truth and error, truth telling and deception. That's what the world is, from a spiritual perspective. So, I was listening to this person and seeing them rise, and I was subscribed at one point. I actually unsubscribed after this recent controversy. Um, but for the longest time, I didn't watch this person. There's a lot of people, especially female content creators who've recently gotten in the space. And guys, this is why we really have to be discerning. So I think a lot of times we as Black men, especially, we allow ourselves to be distracted by, oh, she's attractive. Oh, she's saying the right thing. She's acting right. She sounds feminine. But when you really look at some of these people, this is a money grab for them. And, for me, I've always looked at some of this, from the perspective of, with Black women, they had Derek Jackson telling them a bunch of things, but being a hypocrite the whole time, telling them things they want to hear. We have to be very careful. Just because someone says stuff you agree with doesn't mean their intentions are good or that they're a high vibrational person. There's a lot of low vibrational people and spiritual beings that will tell truths. The devil will tell truth. Demons will tell the truth, but they'll also mix it with error, or, what they're doing outside of the true things they're saying is really designed to lead to your spiritual destruction and your physical destruction in a lot of ways. I mean, part of me with this particular person, and again, I don't like saying names. I'm sure everyone knows who I'm talking about. Part of me part of me was sort of okay with her because I found out that she, had some history dating a Black man, and I know originally she and him were supposed to go on Fresh and Fit show. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this person, not being black themselves, not being a black woman or a black man herself, maybe, it's genuine concern. She dates black men, she cares about black men, she has a black man in her life who she loves. From what I understand, they're no longer together. And I know he wanted to marry her at some point. I don't think she went along with that. And, for a lot of people, that was sort of, kind of suspicious. She's talking about wanting to start a wife school and talk to women. And a lot of times it seemed like black women, especially, about being good women, good wives, but you're 26, focus more on rising on YouTube as opposed to actually being the things you're trying to promote to women, being about family, being about marriage, not just focusing everything on career. So that to me, was sort of one of the things I was thinking about. But the other part of it is like it's just there's nothing new or innovative being brought. It's just the same talking points we've heard for years and years and years, since even before the manosphere even came on the scene. Even going back to people like Tommy Sotomayor, who's recently made a resurgence, and other folks. I know David Carroll, and I've been hearing some stuff about David Carroll recently as well. And that kind of leads into another point. It's just looking at how this situation and a lot of situations just continue to fracture the manosphere. Now, with the particular person who I'm indirectly speaking about in this video, with her, it her whole thing was, just parroting, things that people like Kevin Samuels had said and other figures in the manosphere. But it was very surface level, and even with other individuals, I think it's kind of surface level. And again, the intent behind it is an issue. There is a big show. Again, I don't like addressing people by name negatively on this channel, but these particular guys who were also had some things come about them. It was more, the show is more about drama and ratchetness and stuff you'd see on Jerry Springer and things like that. But it's not really about helping men become better, helping men become more discerning. I mean, you have a lot of people in this space who will talk about certain kinds of women, but that's the kind of women they try to sleep with. It's like, oh, recreational use only. But of course, as I've talked about before, that's very dangerous. You have to be very careful who you get involved with, whether it's relationship or sex, or it's who you follow. And you can listen to anybody, but you have to be mindful that their agenda may not be truth and making you better. With this person, a lot of it seemed to be more about, showcasing the worst of black women. And, while that might have just been the people coming on the show or people that her people were recruiting. It still just was not a good look. It just didn't sit right with me. I mean, even with black female content creators, including one of two of a dynamic duo of black female content creators who calls herself a goddess. Just listening to her, listen to how some of these women talk to men, it just really makes me suspicious, but they have a lot of traction. It's kind of interesting how, some of the same people who were propping up, people like Six and Danica Marie have now shifted to this individual, this pearly person. Um, it's it's just really interesting, just and it really for me, it's been kind of like piecing all this together. What's really going on here? I feel like ever since Kevin Samuels died, it's just been very weird. I remember one content creator talked about how a vacuum was created, and someone like this person we're talking about today filled that void. And again, it's just like, again, it's all competition to fill the void. For me, what I do, I have a day job. It's kept me from making content. My goal is to teach truth. It'd be good to make money along the way. I know a lot of other truth tellers who do make money on YouTube. Shout out to Ricky Manor, Sub Zero, guys like that. even Mr. Samuels. But there's a lot of people where it's more about content and making a profit and drawing attention and just telling people what they want to hear. Whether or not this particular person is truly a racist, I know she had the white supremacist on. I know she allowed him to say some very offensive things about, black people and about people in interracial relationships, the clip I saw especially. Uh, for me, it's not really about racism or getting angry or offended. For me, it's just like it's about what the person's intention is. Because when you do things, there's an intention behind it. Even if it's something that's good on the surface, if the intention is not correct, it can be harmful, it could be destructive, and it could be part of a larger ploy to take advantage of people or to deceive them and lead them astray. And that's sort of what my concern was with this person. But kind of looking at the firestorm that's happened in the past couple of weeks, if this person was an agent, like I've heard some people say, I think the operation was to further defy the manosphere. It was already in a tenuous position immediately after the Black Manosphere meetup, and in the months leading up to the passing of Kevin Samuels. I don't claim to know all the truth of what's really happening here, but my thing is to encourage my brothers to really be discerning. It doesn't matter what race she is. And it kind of disgusts me how, people are propping up women of other races, whether it's this person particularly or it's the passport bros. Like, it's like, oh, we're going to go to Colombia, we're going to go to Thailand because women are just better there. There's no low vibrational white women. There's no low vibrational women in Thailand or in Colombia or in Medellin, and I don't think it's by mistake. Both the passport bros and this person started to rise around the same time. I think there's a lot of people who would play on your insecurities as a black man, play on your desires, wanting a fit, feminine, beautiful, friendly woman. And that's good. Those are good things to want. But when you turn off your discernment, thinking that, oh, I don't have to worry about this person because they're not from the Western world, or this person's good Midwestern white girl. Oh, I can trust her. Even with other men, oh, I could trust this guy. He's telling the truth. He's giving it to the ladies. He's calling them out. He's calling out the German shepherds and all that. And that's no knock to Minister Jap. Shout out to Jap. I've met him in person. But you still have to be discerning, even with people in your everyday life. I mean, obviously, if you've built trust and rapport with someone personally, that's one thing. But in general, you really need to keep your discernment on. There's a lot of people who are peddling messages. It's not to make you better. It's to play to your anger. It's to play to your disappointment. It's to play to your dissatisfying experiences with women. But, someone like myself, my goal is to help you be better. And the only way you be better is by becoming a virtuous, righteous, high vibrational person yourself. And you'll be able to recognize the darkness and the low vibrations in other people. And there's a lot of that in this space. And my goal with my channel, Black Male Spirituality, is to make Black men more spiritual so they can have something guiding their lives, so they can connect to the spirit and be able to discern things. The Bible teaches us spiritual things are spiritually discerned. And there's a lot of these, like I've been saying this whole time I've been on YouTube, in the brief period I have, and the videos I've had time to make thus far, discernment is so important. Spiritual discernment, especially, because again, a lot of these issues, whether it's baby mama stuff, or it's 304s, or it's city girls, all of that comes from a spiritual place. And I know some people have touched on, witchcraft and all that kind of thing that could be at play, in certain interactions with women and men. You have to be very careful, you know, because, again, there's a lot of women out there who are deceivers, who are, you know, femme fatale types. They're coming across sensual and sexy, and, maybe like they're interested in you. They're interested in you as a black man. They're concerned for you as a black man. They'll try to play to that. but you have to be very, very careful. Um, Another point I wanted to make that I thought was just interesting about this person's rise. And when we think about people who are coming into our space, especially from outside of our community, we have to look back at history. As I've talked about before, I'm a big fan of hip hop. When people of other races who controlled big corporations got into hip hop, that changed things. And at different points in time, it worked well and good music was made. But at other times, bad music was made. And even worse than that, very toxic, low vibrational messages were being pushed. Obviously, for black men, it was the whole gangster, player, pimp stuff. And then for women, it's the city girl, Nicki Minaj, Little Kim type stuff, But, I don't want to see that repeated in the black manosphere. We have to be very, very careful. A lot of people want to talk about, oh, well, she gets results or this person gets results. They're giving people jobs. What are you doing? Just because people are doing good things and they're doing work doesn't mean it's good work. You know, a lot of us grew up in church and we were taught, oh, the devil is busy. Yeah, the devil does a lot of work. That doesn't mean he's good. That doesn't mean he doesn't want to destroy your soul. There's a lot of other dark forces doing work. There's a lot of people who are connected to dark forces doing a lot of work in the world, but it's not necessarily good work. And even with the employment aspect, the particular person at play, it's come out that she might not be paying people fairly, might have people in very draconian contracts. You got a white woman trying to be Suge Knight in this space, locking black content creators into contracts where she benefits most, the vast majority of the revenue while they get a pittance. And again, all of this, like for me, I think a lot of the things that have been said about this person, and again, I don't want to make it about this person. I just think there are larger lessons to learn from this story. But, all the things in isolation were not necessarily concerning to me, but all together between having the white supremacist on, not really pushing back against some of the offensive things he was saying, and then when you find out that you have these horrible contracts that you're, locking black content creators into, I mean, just all of that together, and then now trying to go after people who are criticizing her and sending DMCA strikes and all that stuff, and this was the person that, so many men were saying, oh, yeah, right on. She's good. She's pushing our message. We got a white woman pushing our message. Again, discernment. And, we haven't even gotten into some of the questionable things she would be doing at these parties where she has people being filmed, writing, and talking about sexual stuff. I don't know. Honestly, I think there's a lot going on in this space that it really reminds me of the mainstream Hollywood. We don't want to be like that. We want to be about truth. We don't want to be about drama and all this beef and, all this nonsense, all this profiteering and all that kind of stuff. We want to be first and foremost about truth. It's okay to make a profit. I believe in capitalism. But when you're teaching people things that are very important to their lives and people are looking to you and entrusting you to speak the truth and to speak for them, it has to be more about money and profiteering. You actually have to believe in what you say. And that's what I want to do on my channel here. At any rate, these are just some of the things I've been kind of milling over. Sorry I've been gone so long. I've been itching to get back and sharing messages because I think at this point in time, we need it more than ever, with how fractured things are. I mean, we have black men taking sides over this white woman. We got black women taking sides. And, it's so funny because they made it such a big thing about the race thing, but the people who are being attacked is black people. It's like, oh, I'm going to do a video about this person, but I'm going to attack the black person who sees things differently. I'm going to call them a coon or Uncle Tom. Yet you want to be mad at Nick Fuentes being on someone's show. Like, again, I think all of these are very representative of things I just think are real problems in our community. Again, allowing ourselves to be manipulated by people outside our community is not to say all people of all other communities are always bad, but we just have to be careful. Especially if we want to talk about history and being mindful of that. Well, let's be mindful of that. But again, it goes beyond race. Again, it's about truth versus error for me. It's about high vibration versus low vibration. If someone's a racist, the real issue is that they're low vibration, that they're negative, that they're in darkness. It just happens to manifest as racial prejudice. I mean, it's all together for me. I'm here to make people better. Obviously, my main concern is to my community and my brothers, but to everyone who might be listening to my videos. But at any rate, that's all I have to say on this. I'm gonna try to be making some more content soon. And I always want you to remember, low vibrations are at an all-time high in this world. They're at an all-time high in the black manosphere, in the red pill, in the mainstream. But brothers, stay high vibrational. Namaste and peace to everyone.